welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally filming another episode of the Lunar Knits podcast, and I am so sorry if you hear a lot of racket. My pup suddenly wants to play, so there's that. But anyways, I know it's been a long time since I filmed a real sit-down podcast episode. I have a couple of mini episodes where I showed you some finished objects that I had, and I finally decided that I need to just sit down and film another episode because I've been craving doing it. So, long time no see. My name is Lori if you're new here or if you've just forgotten. And I like to just make videos about knitting. So I sometimes make tutorials and I often, well, not so often anymore, make podcast episodes. So this is the Lunar Knits podcast. So I'm going to talk about just what I've been working on knit-wise. I have some acquisitions to show you guys, and maybe just a little bit of chatter. So my name is Lori, as I mentioned, and I live in Columbus, Ohio, where it is sunny today. It was actually about 50 degrees, which has been nice because it's been cold recently. Kind of gotten back into sweater weather, so I have been trying my hardest to get some sweaters made for myself, but as always, I kind of get sucked into the sample knitting hole. So you'll see a little bit of sample knitting, a little bit of selfish knitting here. I told myself I wasn't going to do any more sample knits this year, but I had somebody reach out and ask if I could knit them a sweater, and I said yes because I can't resist, because free yarn. I have a pretty tight yarn budget, so the only way that I can afford the yarn that I enjoy knitting with the most is by sample knitting. So basically with sample knitting, if I knit a sweater for somebody, then I get a sweater's quantity of yarn in return, which is so nice and so generous. So I kind of work for my yarn, if you will. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump into finished objects because I just have one to show you, and it's the one that I'm wearing. I know that I talked about this in at least one other podcast episode. I think it was a work in progress then. I actually know it was because this took a lot longer than it should have. Just because, like I said, I've been doing sample knitting and everything, but I finally finished my Aruhu sweater. I don't know, I'll have it on the screen here so you guys can see what the name is, and I'll also link it down below. This is by Leanie Hoy, and it's a pretty simple raglan sweater, as you can see from the front. It just is pretty basic. It's a fingering weight sweater held double with mohair, and as you can see, it has some really nice twisted ribbing detailing on the sleeve as well as in the back. So I'll go ahead and show you the back of the sweater. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, and also I'm wearing sweatpants, so don't judge. So the back of the sweater has this awesome twisted ribbing detail to match the sleeves, and it goes from the ribbing up here and it goes seamlessly into the triangle, which is really nice. And then I did knit it a little bit more cropped than the pattern calls for, just because I like to have my sweaters hit at my pant line because I'm pretty short, so I just need my proportions to be a little bit different. So having a really big oversized sweater is not always ideal for me, so I tend to knit them a little bit smaller than the pattern suggests, just for my personal body type. And as you can see, the sleeves are a little bit shorter, which is totally just my fault because I got lazy. But I really do like these bracelet length, if you will, because I like to pull it up anyways. Generally, I pull the sleeves on my sweater up. So I don't really mind. And I'm sure with time, it'll stretch out a little bit because this is a superwash yarn. I'm going to show you. I used Hello Stella. This is from her Van collection. I believe this is in the colorway Type 2. This is a tweed yarn, a green tweed yarn. It's kind of a foresty green color. I just really enjoyed the color of it. I had 3 skeins of this, and I only used 1 and then about 3/4. So this is what I have from the second skein left over. And these skeins had 420 yards, so they're pretty large. And then I held that together with Knit Picks Aloft in the color Carbon. And that's how I got this really cool greeny blue color. I'm really excited about it. It's originally, I wanted a more charcoaly color, but the Carbon was a little bit more on the blue side than I thought it would be when I ordered it, but I really like how it turned out, and it's really unique. So on the sweater, I did not alternate skeins because lazy. And you can kind of tell because up here it's pretty variegated. You can see the contrasting of the lighter and the dark tones better. And then down at the bottom, it's a little more blended together. But, like, I don't honestly care. I was a little annoyed while I was knitting it, but then I was like, it's your own fault, and nobody else is going to really notice, so I'm fine with it. I believe that I knit the second size of this sweater, but I'm honestly not totally positive on that. It's actually not on my project page. I do have a project page, but I don't really put a lot of information, but I'm pretty sure I knit the second size. I usually knit the second size on most patterns. And I used a 4.5 millimeter knitting needle for the body of this. And then I went down one full size for the ribbing. And that is all I have to say about the sweater. I didn't really have any issues. It is a little bit tedious at the beginning when you're working the back triangle. You have a lot going on that you have to keep in mind, like your raglan increases and then your triangle decreases and whatever. So it's a little bit trying there at first, but once you get past that section and once you get going, it really is easy. Like I said, it's a really basic raglan. And then the sleeves are fun because, you know, you have a little bit more interest on them rather than just stockinette sleeves. This is Roxy. She's usually pretty camera shy, but she doesn't know there's a camera on her right now. And I hope you guys are okay with this, like, more casual setup because, like I said in the last episode, sometimes I get lazy and don't want to set up my tripod. So we're doing this. All right, let's go ahead and move right into works in progress. So my first work in progress I'm going to show you is a pair of socks. A sock. I don't have a pair yet. So my sister-in-law asked me a while ago to knit her a pair of socks, and she picked out a skein of yarn from my stash a while ago, like I said. And I finally have been working on them. Not very much. Her birthday's coming up after Christmas, so I'm going to give them to her around Christmas or her birthday. Anyways, I'm just doing a very basic vanilla pair of shorty socks. She has really large feet, I think a woman's size 13. So, and she has wide feet. So, that's why they look huge. They are. And here we are. Oh, they're so pretty. I really like this yarn, and I'm excited to make myself a pair of socks out of this yarn as well. I should have enough to make myself a shorty pair of socks, which is really exciting because this yarn is really soft. So for the main part of the sock, I'm using Wonderland yarns. I couldn't tell you this color name. I talked about it in a very old podcast. This has been in my stash for over a year now, so I don't really remember the name of it. I caked it up and didn't keep the label. I never keep the labels. I'm really bad about that. But it is just a bare base with speckles of light blue, dark blue, and a purpley pink color. And it's working up really nicely, like really excited about how it looks when it's worked up. And then I'm going to do contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs. And I'm just using a hobium yarn that I have. It's a very basic acrylic or very basic wool nylon mix. It's just this blue color. I don't have it over here with me because it wouldn't fit in my cute little bag. This is the bag that I'm holding them in. I really like this bag a lot. I got it at a yard sale. It was a knitter yard sale. So she had her knit stash. She was de-stashing her bags and yarn, and it was the best yard sale I've ever been to. So I picked up this cute bag from her. And on here, I have this really great progress keeper from my friend Jenna. I asked if she could make these for me, and she did. And she, I believe, is selling them on her shop. So I'll have that link down below too if you're interested. But my friend Jenna makes really cool knitting accessories, and this is my favorite things she's made me so far. I do know that hers come with a different clasp, but I asked her to leave mine blank so I could do it myself. So she just sent me the wood pieces, and I attached my own progress keeper holder thing, clasp. But it's just like an inch, so it's a little ruler, so I know how much longer I need to go. And I can just keep my progress. It's so nice for sock knitting especially. It just makes them that much more portable. But anyways, I also am knitting these on my Chiagu 12-inch circulars. And I believe these are a size 1. Do they not say? I don't think they say, but I think these are a size 1, a 2.25 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all I have on there. Hopefully I will make some more progress on these soon, but I have other priorities that I'm trying to get finished right now, so they're on the back burner. All right, moving right along to the more exciting things. Not that vanilla socks aren't exciting, but I have some pretty exciting projects going on right now. So I have this bag right here, which is also from that same yard sale. I got 2 bags from her. And this bag actually is by Front Range Bags. So you can look here. You can find them on Etsy at frontrangebags.etsy.com. I don't know if they're still making bags or not, but whatever. All right, so I am making a sweater for my husband finally. I have been wanting to make him a sweater for a really long time. And we talked about what yarn he wanted. I did a sample knit for Harbor Fiber Company about a month ago, and we picked out some of her yarn for his sweater, and he wanted mohair. So it's a mohair. It's going to be a mohair cardigan. He always likes cardigans, but he doesn't have a lot, so I thought, why not make him one? So here we are. I'm going to show you the yarn first. I am using Harbor Fiber Company. I think that's what her name is. I know it's Harbor Fibers. Harbor Fibers. I'll have her link down below. This is her Toasty Marshmallow colorway. If you guys watched my Sunset Highway video, my finished object video, you would have seen that this was the yarn that was the main color in that. And we both just really liked it. It's a really fun neutral with some orange on there. It's a tonal gray color. So lots of tones of gray and some orangey. I really liked it. It was just simple. So I asked for this in exchange for the sweater that I knit her. So she sent me a sweater quantity of that, and I'm holding that together with Knit Picks Aloft mohair, and I believe this is the colorway Kanoi. I don't even know, Kanoi. It's the turquoise one. You can't get it mixed up. They don't have a whole lot of colors. So I did do a little swatch. So this is kind of a close-up of what it'll look like, but I'll show you the sweater here in a minute. I did a swatch because the pattern that I'm using, I believe it's called the Wonders cardigan, and I don't know who it's by. It's not like a designer that has a lot of patterns. And actually this pattern was not available to download on Ravelry. I had to message him and ask if I could still get it, but he said that there was a problem with the larger size of the pattern. So I believe that the cardigan pattern is written for 4 sizes, and he said the larger 2 sizes, the math was apparently wrong. And I was like, okay. And he was like, but I'll send you the pattern anyways, and you can try to decipher it if you want. And I was like, yeah, totally. So he sent me the pattern, which was so generous of him. I was still willing to pay for it, but he said he couldn't in good conscience do that because it was wrong. And I cast it on a few weeks ago. And basically the pattern is written so you cast on the same amount for all sizes, and then you just increase. So since it's a raglan sweater, I just cast it on what he said, followed his instructions into the point where it split for the different sizes, and now I'm just doing my own thing because my husband is a really large man. He is Polynesian, and Polynesians tend to have really large, big, broad shoulders and chests, which he does, and he's 6 foot tall. I believe his chest, when I measured it, was like 43 or 44 inches. And the size that I was knitting was a 46-inch bust, and my gauge was 2 stitches smaller. So I should get about the right size, but also I'm just increasing and I'm having him try it on. So I had him try this over his shoulders, and it fits so well. I'm so excited. I have a lot more increasing to do before I can split for the sleeves, but overall it's going really well, so I'm pretty proud of myself. So here's what it looks like in a bigger swatch. It's kind of ugly to most people, I'm sure, but my husband is a really colorful guy. He likes a lot of color. He likes things that don't necessarily match. So I let him take full reign of this. So this was all his choosing, and it's really fun to knit on. So here's what the mohair and the yarn combination is looking like. And on the front of the sweater, there is a little cable. I don't know how well you guys are seeing this on the camera. I can't see what's happening right now. Hopefully it's even recording, but this is what it's looking like so far. This is the only like interesting detail on it. It is a very simple raglan cardigan, and then it's going to have a nice big shawl collar. And this was the first time that I did a provisional cast on. So I did the crocheted cast on, which you can't really see because of all the mohair and stuff, but I just used scrap yarn and crocheted and picked up my stitches from there so I can do the shawl collar later. So I'm really proud of myself for doing that because I have never done that before, and usually I'm pretty lazy when it comes to learning new techniques. But I decided that for my husband, I wanted this to just look really nice and really professional, so he wants to wear it. And when he tried it on for the first time yesterday, he said he really liked it. So I'm excited to get back to working on it, but I have another commitment that I have to do first. I am currently knitting this on Chiagu 4.5 millimeter needles. That is generally what I do when I do a fingering weight mohair sweater. I like to use 4.5 millimeter needles because I like the gauge of it. That's what I used for this. It's also what I use for my no frill sweater. And I think I used it whenever I designed my date night sweater for Hobium a long time ago. But anyways, that is all I have going on with this sweater. I still have quite a bit to go before I can split for the sleeves. I think it was only about here on his shoulders. So it's definitely going to be a labor of love, but it's going to be so worth it. And I definitely would like to have this finished by the end of the year. His birthday is on December 28th. So it's his 30th birthday too. So it would just be a really great gift that I could give him. So I really hope I can get it done by then. I believe that's all I have to say about that one. So let's just keep moving along on our whips here. I have 2 more to show you. Actually, 3. I'm going to show you this one really quickly. So Premier Yarns reached out to me and asked if they could send me some yarn and I could make a post for them. So they sent me some yarn and I did a sponsored post over on Instagram, but this video is not sponsored by them in any way. They don't even know I'm talking about this anymore. I was just asked to do one post with them, but I also do have a coupon code or an affiliate link or something that I can put down below for you guys, which will get you a discount if you want to try out this yarn. So this yarn is made with an acrylic yarn. This sweater is made with an acrylic yarn. I thought it would be really fun to make a trendy sweater out of their really nice acrylic anti-pilling yarn. So here it is. It's so soft. This is in the color Bark, and it's a worsted weight yarn, anti-pilling. And I started making the Cat Bell sweater. I think this is by Pip and Pin. I first saw it on Grace's podcast, the Cat Knit podcast. I love her podcast, and she showed the sweater, and I was like, I really want to make that. And I thought it would be really nice to have an acrylic sweater that I could wear while I'm walking dogs this winter, because I just want to wear hand knits all the time, but I don't want to wear my nice sweaters when I'm walking dogs, because people, they jump on you, and yeah, maybe I have a coat on, maybe I don't, and I just don't want to risk that. So I thought an acrylic sweater, why not? So I don't really have too much to say about it. It's a really great pattern. This is the first, I did a lot of firsts with this pattern. So this is the first pattern that I've done that's a drop shoulder from the top down. So the construction is really interesting on it. You do one shoulder, the other shoulder, and then you pick up the stitches for the back. I think that's how I did it. And it's an all over lace sweater. So it just looks like this. I really like the lace pattern. I don't like knitting it at all. Like, I'm so over it. I don't know if I'll ever finish this sweater, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm going to try because I really like the way it looks on me. And I also learned how to do a sewn tubular bind off with this sweater. I just thought it would be worth it, and I really enjoyed learning it. I don't know if I love doing it, but I also don't love binding off in general. Just any bind off, hate it. Absolutely hate it. But for this sweater, I'm using my like needles, or Licca, or whatever you want to call them, the driftwood needles that are super popular with everyone, and I'm using a 4.5 millimeter. I did not gauge swatch for this. I kind of just went with my gut on what I wanted to do and just chose a random size. I think I'm making the 3rd or the 4th size. I decided to like go up one size from what I would normally knit because I really wanted it to fit. And it's a really nice, cute cropped fit that billows at the bottom a little bit because you do some rapid decreasing before you're ribbing. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. I didn't want to go into too much detail because I don't know if I'm going to finish it just because I'm lazy. And since it's an acrylic yarn, you know, I kind of lost my steam on it after I finished my post, which is such a bummer. But we're going to try our best. I do want to show you my cute little Instagram camera stitch marker here by, I believe this is by Aunt Kay Handmade. She sent these to me along with a giveaway package for a giveaway that I had like a year or 2 ago. So yeah, that's my cat bell sweater. And that is living in this gigantic project bag that I actually made all by myself. Yay! I just really needed a large project bag, and so this is holding a worsted weight sweater. We have 2 more works in progress, guys. I know, it seems like so many. When I'm sitting here, it is so many. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna show you the sample knit that I'm doing. It's not technically a sample knit, it's for a girl who used to dye yarn, and she isn't dyeing yarn anymore. And she asked if I could knit her this sweater because she didn't have time to get it done before Christmas, and she really wants it for Christmas. And I said, of course, and she's going to, of course, pay me in yarn, which is always a pleasant thing. So this yarn doesn't have a colorway name. You can't get it anywhere. It's just a one-of-a-kind. Hi, Roxy. Come on, go. So she asked if I would knit her a Lofoten sweater. So this is the Lofoten by Emily at the Blue Mouse. And usually this is a fade sweater, so it usually uses 3 colors, but she just wanted it in a single color, which is really nice, and it makes it so much easier and more convenient for me to knit on in random places. So I am pretty far on this. I didn't start this too long ago. I think I finished the yoke in 3 days, which is really impressive. I am knitting the 46.5-inch bust sweater, which is much larger than I would normally knit for myself. So I'm a little like, is it too big? Is it too small? I don't know. My gauge is pretty on point, especially after I block it. It'll be really, really perfect. And this yarn feels incredible. I'll show you here in the cake. It's just a really tonal purple yarn. There's really not much to say about it because it's just a purpley tonal yarn, which I'm really enjoying working with because it's incredibly soft. I hope this is the same base that I get because it's probably one of the softer indie yarns that I've worked with. Anyways, the Lofoten has this really nice drop stitch detail in the yoke. If you guys aren't familiar with it, sorry it's a little fuzzy right now with some mohair and other hairs on here. It'll definitely get a really nice bath whenever I'm finished. And it also has a really nice texture in the body. I'm really enjoying the texture on the body. I thought it was going to annoy me, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's annoying, but it actually makes it go a lot faster. I'm knitting this on Leica needles. I get a bigger gauge with Leica needles, and I find that I am actually a really tight knitter. So I know that if a pattern designer that I'm familiar with is a looser knitter, like Caitlin Hunter, for example, she's got a really loose gauge. I tend to use my wooden needles because I'm more likely to get their gauge. And I also know I need to go up at least a half a size. So I don't generally gauge, I just kind of go off of what I know because I've been knitting so many sweaters this year, which I posted a picture on Instagram and I posted a video on how I knit on Instagram, and somebody asked how many sweaters I have knit this year. And I had no idea how many I had knit. So I went on Ravelry and counted, and I am up to 11. This, once I cast off, will be the 12th. And I think only like 3 of those were for me, maybe 4. But my goal was to knit 12 sweaters this year, so I at least hit my goal. And only one of them was on my Make 9. So we're doing great. Anyways, I am probably 8 inches into the body, and she did ask me to knit it a little bit cropped. She actually wants it about the same length that I make my sweaters because she's my height, which is really nice because that means I won't have to do it. I don't have too much more to do on the body, and then I can start the sleeves. And I'd really like to have this done by Thanksgiving. I told her I could have it done by December 1st, but if I could have it done by Thanksgiving, that would be amazing. Because I'm considering knitting all of my in-laws, like the individual families. There's 5 families from my in-laws, so my sister-in-laws, my brother-in-laws, yeah. And I was thinking about knitting them all chunky blankets for Christmas. So if I'm gonna do that, I need to get this done in time. I have so much chunky yarn in my stash that I want to use up, and I think that would be the perfect way to do it. So we're not putting any pressure on ourselves though. Anyways, yeah, Leica needles and 8 inches on the body. I just have my sleeves held on my Chiagos. It's just the easiest for me to pick them up that way. I'm also using this Tilting Planet Progress Keeper. These are my absolute favorite Progress Keepers. They are just little globes with some star glitter in them. I love Tilting Planet. She's definitely one of my favorites to buy my accessories from. Anyways, guys, I feel like I'm rambling about nothing now. There's not really much else I have to say about this sweater. It's really quick to knit, really simple. I have had no issues so far. I haven't changed a thing. I'm really enjoying it. It wasn't a sweater I was ever going to knit for myself, but I'm glad I'm knitting it because this is the first time I've done drop stitches and it was really fun. So yeah, I'm having a good time. That is my Lofoten. And last work in progress, I bound off this sweater that I'm wearing, and then I immediately knew I wanted to cast on another sweater, and I was sitting for a really long time because I have so many projects that I want to make for myself, and I didn't know which one to do first. But I've had this Malabrigo yarn in my stash for way too long. And I decided that it was finally time to break into it. This has probably been in my stash for 5 years so far. I got this whenever a local yarn shop in my hometown closed. So this yarn was like $6 a skein, and I got 4 each of these, so it's really great. This is, I don't know, I could go grab a tag, but I'm not going to. I know this is something okra, Frank Okra, and I have no idea what the name of this one is, and I'll have more information in the next podcast, I promise. I just thought these would go so well together. I thought they were a really cool combination. It reminds me of strawberry lemonade for some reason, so here we are. We're knitting with these two, and I'm doing the Dreama sweater. I did not prepare for this podcast, you guys. I'll have it on the screen because I think it's by Jennifer Steingas. I've never knit one of her patterns before, and I don't even know if it's her, but I'll have it on the screen. I'll also have it linked down below so you guys can find it yourself if you want. But I have barely gotten any work done because I offered to do that sample knit after I started on this. So this kind of got put in the back burner, but it's just a nice colorwork yoke sweater, a worsted weight colorwork yoke sweater. And yeah, this is what I have so far. Very simple, not a lot going on. But this, I really like the increases that this sweater has. They're practically invisible. And then I know the short rows happen after the color work, so you don't have a big like pink section in the back. So the main body of the sweater is going to be the pink, and then the color work is going to be done in the yellow. I just thought the pink would suit my skin tone better than the yellow. So I'll have a lot of the yellow left over, I'm sure, because there's not a whole lot of color work. This is being knit on my Chiagu 4.5mm circular needles as well. It's my favorite size. I also did not gauge swatch for this. Can't even remember what size I'm knitting, to be honest with you. But I did decide to go with the rolled neckline because I thought it was way prettier and more feminine. So, as you can tell, I'm not prepared at all, but I will definitely be talking about this in another podcast. So if you want to know more details about it, I'll be more prepared next time. That is my Dreama. I've had this on my list for a very long time, which is why I decided that this is the one that I wanted to do, because every time I look at my stash, I look at this yarn and I really want to use it because it's so soft. So, yeah. And that, my friends, is all my works in progress. I'm keeping my previous 2 whips both in my Tanny Casey project bag, which is my favorite project bag that I have. And as you can tell, I've put all my pins on here. A couple of these are new, like this one is from Rose and Adler. I just got this in the mail last week. It is like a yarn ball with a crochet hook and a knitting needle through. I love that. I also have my I Willy Love knitting pin from The Farmer's Daughter, and I think that actually might be all of the new ones that I have so far, so love that so much. All right, so I'm going to dive right into stash acquisitions now. Stash acquisitions, yes. I'm not going to be showing you guys everything that I've gotten new in my stash since the last podcast. I'm going to just show you as I use the yarn, but I wanted to show you these yarns specifically because they're exciting. So a couple months ago, Sweet Georgia Yarn had a call for ambassadors for their yarn. And on a whim, I just applied because I thought, why not? It could be fun. And, you know, I may not even get chosen, whatever, just do it. So I did it and I got picked. And it was the craziest thing ever. I did not expect to get picked for the ambassador program because, I mean, it's Sweet Georgia Yarn, you know? Like, everybody knows Sweet Georgia. Well, maybe you don't, but their yarn is great. She's great. The whole company is fantastic. They're located in Canada, and they picked a bunch of girls from all over, and it's just been a really fun experience so far, and I am excited to finally break into my yarn. So I got sent the Tough Love sock, and they sent some of their new colors over for us, all the girls that got picked, to play with. So I chose the color Trinket, and this is their Tough Love sock, like I said, which is a fingering weight yarn, and it is incredibly soft. This is an 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon with 425 yards, and it's so soft. I can't wait to knit with this because it's so tonal that I can't even see all the colors in here, but it's got a bunch of tonal purples that I'm obsessed with. I know you guys can't even see. This probably isn't doing justice at all. But this is the color that I picked out from the new collection that they just launched. I do have an affiliate link for you guys that I'll leave down below. So if you guys want to grab some of their yarn, this is a great time to do it. And then I asked the girl, like, what would complement this, because I probably was going to make a colorwork sweater. And she sent me a list of options, and I like went over them and I was looking at them on their website, and I settled on Lady Gray in the same base, and it's a like gray purpley color. It's very tonal as well. Like, the thing with these Sweet Georgia yarns, this is actually the first time I've ever used Sweet Georgia yarns, but the thing with their yarns is they're just tonal, but like I can't even explain it. It's just so interesting. You really have to see them in person to truly get the full effect of these yarns. It's really amazing. I cannot wait to cast these on. I look at them every time I walk past my stash, and I really need to get on choosing a project for these. I think I settled on the Sypolis by Caitlin Hunter, but we shall see. I'm really excited about these yarns. And I just have 2 more skeins that I'm going to show you today because I really am excited about these so much. I have been wanting to try some self-striping yarn for a while. She has the Tiny Human Knits podcast. I really like her podcast. She doesn't podcast as much anymore. She's just got a lot going on in her life, which is totally understandable. I don't blame her at all, but I still follow her on Instagram. I still follow her on Instagram, and she had a shop update recently for her self-striping yarn. And the thing I like about her company is she does all of her self-striping yarn in 50-gram skeins, so you don't have to buy a full 100-gram skein. and then have to either make socks with that whole amount or have some left over, and you don't want to make 2 pairs of the same socks. So yeah, she just sells them in 50-gram skeins, which is perfect for me. So I went ahead and picked up 2, and I feel like these were so much more affordable than most self-striping yarns. Not only because are they only 50-gram skeins, but I am in America and she's in Canada. So that exchange rate right now is really good for you American folks. So I snatched these up so fast. I was so excited that I was able to get in before they all sold out. So I am going to show you Folklore first, which is just this orange and turquoise striping yarn. I really like this one. I always see people using colors like this, and I really like them together. So as soon as I saw this one, I knew I had to. I was only gonna get one, but then this one was like, I can't leave your cart. So it came to me. And then I of course got the Dunder Rainbow, which she made inspired by the Dunder Knits podcast, Knitting Vicariously. I had to. I love that podcast. I forget what her name is. I'm so bad at remembering the people's names behind the podcast, but I really like the Knitting Vicariously podcast as well. So I had to support that one, and this just matches her background, so of course I had to get it. And I can't wait to cast on some socks with these because I know they're going to be so much fun, and I'm going to have to challenge myself to learn a new technique of an afterthought heel. So that'll be really exciting too. I like learning new things in knitting, and I really just can't wait. This is so soft. She uses a base of 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, so they're a little bit softer and more durable with that nylon in there. All right, guys, I think that's all the rambling I have to do for today. I hope any of this made sense to you. I feel like whenever I just sit here and talk, like it feels like nothing makes sense coming out of my mouth, but whatever. I had fun doing this, and I hope that you guys had fun watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below with your favorite item that I've finished or that I'm working on, and subscribe to my channel if you guys want to see more videos like this or some tutorials. I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.